the redpill.tv, the code of change. I'm your host, REnzo Buja. This is episode 9 with Chris Calderon. We're not gonna talk about why it's so important to have a creative hobby in your life. Chris is a great independent comic creator and storyteller. You can find him in www.indieplanet.com and also in the platform Udemy. He has a course, 10 Seconds Cartooning. Welcome, Chris, to the redpill.tv.
All right. Thanks for having me. I've heard a lot of good things about this show. Been listening to some episodes.
Oh.
Thanks for having me on. And thanks for saying my last name right. A lot of people screw that up.
Oh, I know that this is Mexican. Calderon.
Yeah.
Calderon.
Yeah.
The right pronunciation is Calderon. Calderon.
Yeah. Yeah. You say it probably better than I do, but yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, Chris. Please, if you can share us about your background and how you got or to this great passion about drawing, painting.
Sure.
You have been always in this profession and passion on art, no?
Yeah, definitely. From an early age, you know what did it? I think really, well, one of the things is that I was home a lot. And, I had 2 working parents. And, my brother had a busy social life, even in grade school. So I found myself at home a lot. But a big influence, along with reading, books, pick your own path books, and the pop culture at the time that was comic books. My brother was a big reader of DC Comics and a little bit of Marvel. And it was just kind of like it just rubbed off on me. I got into reading them, and I was just mesmerized by each panel and the world of imagination that it brings to you. It was pretty much movies before I really got into watching movies. And really I started emulating some of the, maybe copying some of the superheroes in the panels and just trying to make something like that. And as time went on, cartoons, some of the big cartoons for me were, of course, He-Man, G.I. Joe. But the big one for me was Ghostbusters. That was like mid to late 80s. And so I would just start drawing the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man like crazy because he was easy. He was big, round marshmallows and legs, and arms and trying to draw the Ghostbusters uniforms and all that. And of course, the movie came out, and that was huge. I was really big into that. And so comics and movies and a little bit of cartoons, that whole big jarble just kind of really motivated me to create something and just try to draw cartoons and comics, and I just kind of followed that. In grade school, I was always drawing folders. I would make like folders. I would staple the sides of these, like poster boards together, and I draw like maybe the Ghostbusters logo on it, and I would sell them for like 50 cents a folder. The entrepreneur, and people would put their homework in there, and I would draw. If they wanted me to draw a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, I'll draw a turtle on the folder, and there we go. And I had like this little plastic bank that they could drop the quarters in on my desk. It was I was styling and profiling that way, and just more. I got into creating different kind of like I was really big into making like animal superheroes. Like I would combine a rabbit with like an Iron Man suit. I would one of my first superheroes was called Super House. So he's a house. He's a person. He's like a cartoon house with like a cape and muscular arms and legs, and he would fly and have super strength. And I don't know where I got that, probably because houses are easy to draw. And I would just kind of like his nemesis, his super villain was an animal paw. again, easy to draw. And his big henchman was this giant computer, probably because I had a Commodore 64 at the time. So this is a big robot computer that Superhouse would have to fight all the time and fly through the screen and destroy him. And so my imagination was going uh, influence from video games too, a lot of Commodore games, and then eventually Nintendo games. And it was like during when I got my Sega Genesis, I had the idea uh, for a bear, a superhero like humanoid bear from this game called Altered Beast. And one of the characters that you could transform into is like a bear that has frost breath and everything. I'm like, that's a neat idea. Like maybe he's from another planet. Maybe he has a sword. Maybe he's kind of like Conan. So it got my imagination going. So I'd keep drawing this humanoid bear with, maybe he's trying to fit in. So I put his hat on backwards. He's on Earth. He's a stranger in a strange land. And I just kept drawing and refining them and adding and taking things away. And I just kept rolling with that. And soon I got into more drawing and college. Before I got into college, I ended up going into the Army and, to get money for college. And that, I think I put that in my summary. It was pretty much like that kind of like reinforced me in my mission to become like, a comic book artist or get into something that you could tell a story with. Movies were also a passion of mine too. So trying to combine those things. And so when I got to college, I took a focus on art, but I'm like, well, I'll try to stay grounded and probably can get a job in graphic design. Probably. And so I used that as a focus and an excuse to take a lot more art classes, figure drawing, painting, drafting, all those. And I took numerous broadcasting and cinematic art classes, video, studio recording in a studio, and took some writing classes for, journalism minor. So I was really molding myself into like a one-man band of like someone that knows how to frame a shot to shoot for a movie, and then how to prep something and like draw something like a storyboard to shoot with that movie with, and how to write, correct, punctuation and how to craft a story. Even if it was like a news kind of story, it still gave me a template to tell a story from beginning to end. So those three things were just kind of like everything being thrown in. And it kind of led me to be kind of an independent creative artist, kind of part filmmaker, part comic book illustrator. And that's been evolving ever since. Even through, I ended up going to the M.P.I. film school in Michigan, and I made my first short. And I made a couple of shorts, and I helped other people with their shorts, but I'd always storyboard them out so everyone knew what they were going to have to do that day, and everyone was on the same page. And that helped a lot. That helped a lot with my leadership skills, because they knew that I had a vision for what needed to be done. And they kind of said, oh, now I see where he's going with this character and what he's trying to, okay, that's kind of funny. And so, yeah, and I've been this kind of wrestling with that, trying to balance my work life with my creative life, and trying to make that creative life, take off and have it something that could hopefully make money one day. Hopefully, So that's a pretty broad picture, with minus a lot of struggles, minus a lot of heartbreak, and that kind of leads me to our current day. I've traveled around a little bit for different jobs. I think I was staying in New York for about 5 years, from 2012 to 2015. So I've been all over. Not to every state, but I've been to Mexico. I've been to Canada. I want to go to Europe one of these days. But so yeah, that kind of covers a lot of ground. I guess that would kind of bring us to London Real, if you wanted to talk about that. Or not. It's up to you.
No.
For better or for worse, we did meet through London Real,
Oh,